Hello, my name is Justine Kincaid, and I'm an Instructional Systems Specialist at the United States Air Force School of Aerospace Medicine, and your instructor for this ADDIE course. So what we're going to talk about today is we're going to get into the definition of the instructional system development process, and then we're going to talk about what the goal of the instructional system development process is. So at this point, you've completed your basic instructor course. You've graduated from your year-long CCAF internship, and now you've been released into the wild and you've been told to go forth and start developing curriculum. That can be kind of a scary thought, right? Well, it's not so scary once we give you the tools that you need to develop curriculum in the Air Force. The Air Force uses the ADDIE instructional system development process. And what the ADDIE process is it gives us an outline. It is a flexible process. It's used to analyze, design, develop, implement, and evaluate training in an effective and cost-efficient manner. So you might be thinking to yourself, if you know anything about instructional system design or instructional system development, you might be wondering why the Air Force decided to choose ADDIE. So ADDIE came about somewhere between the Cold War and World War II, when the Air Force was really looking for a way to develop the best training for all of these different things that were being thrown at the Air Force. There was a lot of, the war was different and how we were doing things was completely different. The world was evolving, and we needed a way to develop curriculum quickly and deliver the most effective training to our workers to keep the mission going and to keep the warfighter alive. So after evaluating some different things, the Air Force and military in general decided on the ADDIE process because of its basic nature. So I already kind of defined the instructional system development process when I defined ADDIE, because they're kind of one in one. But we'll go ahead and define the instructional system development process as defined by Air Force Manual 362234. And that defines instructional system development as a systematic but flexible process that is used to analyze, design, develop, implement, and evaluate training in the most effective and cost-efficient manner. So like I said, it's kind of one in one as far as how I defined ADDIE and how the instructional system development process is defined. So what the definition of the ISD process is to do is we want it to ensure that personnel are receiving cost-efficient training that makes sure that they're receiving the skills, knowledge, and attitudes essential for a successful job performance. And that kind of leads us into, we talked about what ISD is, so what is our big goal of ISD? So ISD increases the effectiveness of training. It accurately identifies training requirements, and it reduces the overall training cost. So it gives us a way to basically go through a checklist of how to develop the curriculum. We'll look at it from, the 50,000-foot view all the way down to the nitty-gritty and evaluate the different training line items that we need to match up and how those really apply in the classroom. As we continue down the path of talking about instructional system development, we'll get into, when you actually start developing that material, the different type of medias and instructional materials that you can use. But as I promised, we're keeping this video short and sweet. So to summarize, we talked about what the instructional system development process was, and then we talked about what the main goals of the instructional system development process is. So that's it for this video. If you have any questions, please let me know.